that there's a God and God did it, you can't really explain one unknown by postulating another unknown. So unless you have more to say than simply God did it, then it adds nothing. And your claims aren't open to scientific examination. So so what I'm going to argue is that not only does Blavatsky say God did it, even though she doesn't use the word God, but she gives us a scientific model of the structure of reality. And it's a scientific model she postulated in 1888. So let's look at what she said in 1888, consider it as a scientific theory with scientific hypotheses, and then we'll look at what modern science has found to see if it confirms or denies the teaching of the secret doctrine. Here, an inquirer, do you believe in God? That depends what you mean by the term. And she goes on to say she doesn't believe in an anthropomorphic God sitting on a throne in heaven or counting flowers or so on. But then at the bottom, quote, she explains, though, that we do believe in there being architects, divine intelligences, and that the deity does not personally create every form, but the deity sets in process and the divine builders create form out of formlessness. So it's a model of there being divine or spiritual intelligences that bring about the creation and evolution of the universe. Intelligent design, a deity in every point. Now, you'll see this evening in a lot of the diagrams represent the concept of a 0 point in different ways. This is one illustration. It's like a multi-dimensional Star of David. On the right, I say Blavatsky provides a complex model of divine micro-intervention. Blavatsky actually does provide a model of divine micro-intervention. And it's a model. In science, we want to have a model, a theory with postulates, corollaries that we can test and examine. And I'm saying that is within Blavatsky's work. Oops, back again, sorry. Secret doctrine. One thing I've learned from my 30 years of studies of esoteric teachings is modern science and what I would call formatory thinking or simplistic mechanical thinking always sees everything dualistically. There's the stimulus response, the cause, the effect, the mind, the body, the head, the heart, science, religion, left brain, right brain, conscious, unconscious. Observer, observed, wave, particle, life, death. Everyone thinks dualistically. I would maintain that throughout all the esoteric teachings, there is a basic principle of the law of three. Blavatsky doesn't call it this, but it is implicit in the secret doctrine. And whenever you find the duality, there's always a third element that brings the dual principles into relationship. Here I'm trying to depict the idea of the secret doctrine as allowing to bring religion and science into relationship. Because it is both. It is the science of religion and it brings a religious perspective into science. I often represent myself as the fool at the 0 point. And how this came about, multiple meanings to it. That was my ex-wife did this picture of me. And this is from a recent Scientific American article on holographic physics. So I put these. And why a fool? And there's a lot of meaning to it. In the tarot card, the fool is a special card. It is the 0 card. It's in the major arcana. And the major arcana is 22 cards. You can have 3 sevens in the major arcana, and then you have the fool, and then you have 4 suits of 14 cards, the minor arcana. In a way, the fool is at the midpoint between the material world and the higher world. So the fool is, the 0 point is like a portal from a lower dimensional world into a higher world. So that's one of the concepts of 0 points. Also, I represent myself as a fool at the 0 point based on a passage from Corinthians wherein it says, anyone wishing to be wise in the world, let him become as a fool that he might be wise. And sometimes in knowing nothing, if instead of being filled with all false knowledge, sometimes if we get rid of knowledge and know nothing, then we're further ahead. So I represent myself as a fool at the 0 point. My institute, I run 0 Point Institute for Mystical and Spiritual Science. I'm interested in a wide range of esoteric studies, but Blavatsky is most essential to my work. The term 0 point is taken from the secret doctrine. It's also emerged in modern physics, but that's just icing on the cake, because now I can relate Blavatsky to modern physics. The term comes from Blavatsky. She is the first one in modern times to introduce that term, which is now throughout the scientific community. This is how I portray modern science. They've written, oh, this is modern education. And all these ideas, and everyone's worked so much to create this big elaborate structure, but it has no foundation. In the light of esoteric knowledge, most of modern education is rubbish. These are the areas I'm going to explore: cosmology, physics in relationship to metaphysics, evolution, both physical and spiritual, and then the origins and nature of human consciousness. Blavatsky provides a unique perspective in all 4 of these areas, in addition to other areas, but these are my 4 areas of expertise. Here I try to give a summary of what I see as divine principles of creation. In a way, we see in the secret doctrine, in a way, everything comes out of nothingness. You find that in the stanzas of Zen. In the beginning, everything is absorbed in non-being. Not was. The 7 ways to bliss were not. The causes of misery were not. There was no thing. Everything was absorbed in this para-Brahman. You see it in Kabbalah. In Kabbalah, they have 3 realms of negative existence. Ein, Ein Sof, Hour. These 3 realms of negative existence exist before existence even comes into existence. In Kabbalah, Ein, Ein Sof, Hour are associated with the numbers 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0, 0. Altogether, it's called negative existence. When creation happens and you have a first point, then you step out of negative existence into positive existence. And the first point would be the 1. And then I would argue anything in mystical creation has a triune nature. All things consist in 3, says Pythagoras. See, modern science has no concept of esoteric number study. We think numbers are just along a line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and every number is just the number before plus 1 more. But in esoteric number study, each number has particular significance in terms of geometry,